Charles Woods, what do you say to that? Obviously, we know 4 of our people died, including our ambassador and your beloved son.
Maria, when I first heard that comment, I was shocked. My response was, I can think of 4 Americans, including my son, who lost their lives in Libya because of her failure as Secretary of State, both before, during, and after the attack on Benghazi.
And we know that, and obviously we all have our condolences for you. Your son was a hero. I mean, do you think it's just, what'd she say, short-circuited? Did she forget, or is she still trying to rewrite history?
Well, I think that she wants the American people to forget about her failures in Benghazi. My son would still be alive if she had performed her duties and protected those people that were under her care and supervision in Libya. And of course, that raises the question, if she could not protect 4 Americans in Libya, how can she protect 330 million Americans here in our country?
Yeah, and Judge, we know from the emails that we've seen so far that Ambassador Stevens was basically begging for help in Benghazi, and there was no help on the way after he asked for help. A federal judge is ordering the State Department to release any emails from the week of the 2012 terrorist attack on that U.S. consulate in Benghazi that detail communication between Hillary Clinton and the White House. Judge Jeanine, people want to know what were in those emails.
Well, and they're going to find out what's in those emails. And not only was Ambassador Stevens begging for more security, but the sad part is that his security was reduced on August the 29th, right before the 9/11 attack. And he was not given the opportunity to be able to get the protection that he needed. And the question is, why was security reduced when they were all working in a danger zone, getting danger pay when the Brits left, the Red Cross left, everyone else left? What was the game plan there? Why is Hillary Clinton continuing to lie? The American people will find out. And even at these Benghazi hearings, the sad part is everything was wired. Hillary tells the senators what to ask her so that she can look good. She lies and says no Americans were died. It is a pathetic commentary on this woman who just lies every time it seems that she opens her mouth.
So Dagan, what you're talking about, Judge, is there was a recovered email between longtime Clinton advisor Philip Raines and Chelsea Clinton. This email suggests that questions were planted with Foreign Relations Committee Chairman Bob Menendez for her testimony. Here's the email, and it reads this: "We wired it that Menendez would provide an opportunity to address 2 topics we needed to debunk: her actions, her whereabouts on 9/11, and these emails from Chris Stevens about moving locations." Dagan, that's what the judge is talking about. I mean, they clearly wanted Menendez to fix the problem.
Sadly, it's not shocking, and that it is typical of the way that Secretary Clinton has operated, not just as Secretary of State, but in her entire professional life, number one. And I just want to point out that without the investigation into what happened in Benghazi, we would not even know about the existence of this private email server in the first place.
You're right.
We wouldn't even know about it. And that it's like one thing after another after another. And that's why you increasingly see people who do not trust her.
And you know what's interesting about this? You know, Chelsea Clinton has always been kind of this protected person. She is in the middle of everything. Her mother is telling her that night it's an Al-Qaeda type group that did the attack.
But then Susan Rice and everybody else went on TV saying, oh, it was because of a video.
But also, as it relates to these hearings, Philip Raines is sending an email to Chelsea saying, you know, Menendez is going to be asking the questions that we need to have asked.
Yeah.
Chelsea's right in the thick of this.
And they want to keep Chelsea within the Clinton Foundation. Remember that they want her still attached, at least in some way, to what's happening.
She's an operator.
It raises the question.
She's an operator.
Well, of course, we think of Chelsea that night. Secretary Clinton did not apparently have time to talk to the Secretary of Defense, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, to say, how do we help my people? But she did have time to tell Chelsea what a tough day she was having.
Yeah. And that it was, in fact, terrorism. I mean, Charles, obviously it was September 11th. You know, it wasn't too difficult to figure out that this had nothing to do with the video. You know, you maintain that while Secretary of State Mrs. Clinton lied to you and your other family members of these murdered Americans. Tell us what she said to you, why you still feel that way.
Well, as you know, I did write down the statement that she made to me, and this is in the book that I carry, and I've shown this to many people before. But what it says was the statement that she made when the bodies came in to Washington, D.C. was, "I gave Hillary a hug and shook her hand, and she said, 'We are going to have the filmmaker arrested who was responsible for the death of my son.'" Now,
so she was sticking to this whole narrative that, yeah, somebody created a video and that's what was behind.
Right. She obviously was not telling the truth, because it did come out in the hearings that the night before this, she actually spoke with the Prime Minister of Egypt and said that this attack was a terrorist attack and that it had nothing to do with the video. She also sent an email to her daughter, Chelsea, saying basically the same thing.
And Maria, there's a reason why she didn't go on the morning shows to do that, and why she sent Susan Rice. She knew it wasn't true. That's why she didn't do it.
They pushed Susan Rice to do it. Charles, did your son reach out to you? Were you hearing the kinds of cries from Ty, your son, that we, of course, now know were coming from Ambassador Stevens?
The last time that I talked with Ty was right before he left for this mission. And at that time, he said, "Dad, I'm going to be going on another mission." The reason is because he was retired, but once you're a SEAL, it's always in your blood, and he loved working with the teams. And I told him at that time, I said, "Ty, you know, before you retired for those 20 years, I never really thought that you were going to be injured seriously, even though I did pray for your safety. But I said, this time I feel completely different. If there's any way you can get out of this contract, please do." And he said, "Dad, don't worry." He says, "I can't tell you who I'm working for." It was the CIA, the State Department, but they never like to lose anyone. And I said, "Ty, just really watch yourself this time."
Wow, that's incredible.
That
was
was my last
story.
conversation.
He was such a hero, Charles, and
thank you.
A young man, a very young man.
I'd just like to say this. I'm wearing this tie today because this is what I wore at his funeral. And every year at the anniversary of Benghazi, this is what I wear to honor him. Ty was willing to lay down his life for others, and that's really what love is all about, is not living for yourself, but living for others.
And this Sunday will be 4 years since that dreadful day, September 11th, 2012, when we lost Ty Woods and 3 of his colleagues. Charles Woods, good to see you. Thank you very much. Our condolences, and we are thinking of you and your family today.
Thank you, Maria.
Charles Woods joining us. Judge Jeanine, always a pleasure. Good to see you.